Well, I suppose a couple of things. One, the house was extremely old and worn, built in the late 70s and hadn't really been renovated. So it definitely needed a refit to make it work. For me, it was also badly laid out. There was things like a stairwell in the middle of the house, which made it really hard to get in and out of the house and wasted a lot of space. And the outside look was unbalanced and just didn't have a good street appeal, as it were.
Well, COVID didn't help. We started and planned to do some renovations when we moved in, which was in 2018, and we really wanted to upgrade back then, and then life got in the way. So we started doing some renovations, and what frustrated me is that we had started doing renovations, and then we had to stop, and then we started, and then we stopped. We had a few hiccups along the way until we found you guys, and you were able to really design a house that I think really works. It brings out the old and the new, which we really liked.
Yeah. The other frustration too was the design was we had a large bar area downstairs, which was underutilised because this house is built into the side of a hill, so downstairs feels a little bit closed in and away from the rest of the place, which means we had a large room that we hardly ever used. Underutilised space here, but because this house is a solid brick 1970s house built on a concrete slab, it's extremely well built. So we were considering, should we knock it over and start again, and that would have just come back with paying a lot of money for a low quality built house, modern built house, compared to what this house is, which is high quality. So it was a good house to refit.
Yeah. And I think that surprised us when we moved in as well, that we didn't use the area downstairs. I think when we first moved in, we liked to entertain, but we found it didn't work for us as an entertaining place. It just never did.
And the other frustration was we had a very small veranda out the back that wasn't really big enough for a table to go on. And that's where the light is, and you can see across the garden, you get the view. It's the open area, but we weren't able to utilise that because it was so small as well. Oh, really good. We had, prior to working with you, we did have another architect in who spoke all the language and had lots of really nice words to say, but didn't seem to really understand building, to the extent that even I could pick up the designs weren't practical. Like he was talking about putting bathrooms in on the side of the house that had no water, no plumbing. And even I could see that you'd have to rip up the concrete and move it out. The first day you guys came in and we talked through a whole lot of things, and you were looking downstairs, tapping on walls, working out how many bricks were in that wall, saying, well, this is structural, I can take this out. As soon as we knew that, you knew building, you knew how to build, how to get the most out of the property, which was really good. And also you had the ideas of changing the look to make it, give it street appeal.
Another thing that you did, I think I mentioned earlier, you brought the old house into the new. So these curves I would never have ever thought about doing, and some of these architectural things. These are the things that I love about the house, is what is aesthetically interesting and new. And I guess that's what I liked about what you brought as well. I also really liked that you understood the I said the law, but the requirements of the of Monash Council, or this council, so you could build exactly to standard without having to go through additional permits and things like that. It was like, well, we can, if you want it, we have to get a permit. If not, you could do this, which is just as good, and it's a lot quicker and easier. So it was that knowledge that you brought to it, as well as the as everything else. That was really
the reoccurrence of the curve. So we've got the one here, the one as you come in, the two windows out the front, because the original design we did on PowerPoint was, square windows, square, which made it look very volume builder, Porter Davis look. So the same as every other house you could buy. Well, by retaining the curved windows, which added expense, but also putting the curve in, which added a bit of expense, is added a street appeal that you wouldn't get anywhere else. There's a look that nobody else has, and it looks really interesting and different. Yeah, which was the change, two things, the change to keeping the arch look out front and then using that as a pattern for the curve of that wall out there. And of course, when we went, right, we will, like half the house is still square. So we went square with the garage and things like that. That was probably the big change once we found Matt, the builder, and said, look, let's take out that arch and do do.
Yeah, I'm glad that section didn't cost as much as we expected.
Exactly.
And here, yeah, that he did.
Actually, there was another one that we did spend a bit of time talking about. Was in the original design, I'd said, oh, I love the colour palette, and then when it came to the reality was we were going to be painting the stairwell black, and I suddenly went, oh my gosh. That's what that means. Yeah. And I did spend a week going, what will I do? But I'm so glad I went for something a little bit more radical than the plain white.
The builder was going, oh yeah, black sounds really great. And then a couple of days later he goes, are you sure? And so the painter asked us about 5 times, are you sure? He was going to do it, but he wanted some loophole halfway through.
He didn't want us to do it because it was really dramatic, but I'm actually really glad. I think it works really well with the stairwell, the wood look. We had such, you probably remember the floorboards, and to me, I just felt like we lived in a house that was half renovated for years, and I was like, oh God, I just want a finished house. I want it to look nice, and this is just stunning. I love the open area. I love the kitchen.
Do you like your girls going downstairs? So what's...
Well, surprisingly, they spend a lot of time up here. I thought that there was that. But yeah, I think this room up here, I was a bit worried that the TV area next to us was going to be too small for what it was. But it's actually worked out really, really well. It is actually about the right size. And this dining area and everything else works really well.
It's fine size.
Yeah. Especially working from home, because we both work from home. So having a big house actually really helps.
Yeah.
We're going to start it, right?
We have
Home
offices. We have separate home offices. The girls have something downstairs. Use big enough rooms to do their studying and things like that, and whatever they need to do. So it's
yeah, and the cats have a nice series of steps out the front to sit on in the sun in the morning. They find they sit on the steps, and then in the afternoon and here in the sun. I like it. So everybody's happy.
Oh, the kitchen's fantastic. I absolutely love it. So you probably remember the bench was really low.
Yeah.
I actually think that I was getting really bad back for using that for so long. So because I don't have as many backaches, which is something I've only just really started to notice, that that having a bench at the right size is very useful. Also the size of it is fantastic. There's always room to make something. There's room for a couple of people in here to cook. I find that even the girls come up and do a lot more cooking in here now because they'll just do what they want. They'll just cook for themselves, but we'll get them moving soon. They can cook for everybody. But yeah, I love the way it's set out, and I love the shelves. I don't think I've nailed what I want them to look like yet, but working through, I feel like every week I could redo the drawers and what's in them.
Enjoyed working with you guys.
Yes. Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.